All right, so Unit 2.19, this is going to be mostly problems. I'm just going to recap a little bit about what we talked about at the beginning of our college fund task for you to make sure you have down in your notes. And then the majority of your time this weekend should be spent doing two things. The first, and I'll just go ahead and write this down so you can make sure that you understand. So the first thing is that I want you to copy the questions from the college fund task into your notes. So copy college fund. And that is not too rigorous, into notes so that we're all ready to go on Monday. And then the second piece will be to just answer a couple of questions or do a few problems so that you are ready to go as we move on with the college fund question. Okay, I will, in case you have lost your college fund sheet, I'm going to post this on the class website, and I'll go ahead and write that out for you. All right, so there it is, commoncurriculum.com/website/QTX3Q. All right, so here we go. All right, so what we talked about yesterday was this concept of interest. And interest is something that's pretty important. So I want you to go ahead and spend 2 minutes writing down what interest means. So I want you to do two things. I want you to write it down in words, and then I want you to create your own mathematical example. Okay, and this is something that I'm going to look for. So make sure that you have this, your own mathematical example. Go ahead. All right, so hopefully you feel good about interest. So there's a couple types of interest. The interest we're dealing with is bank interest. So when you deposit money in the bank, interest is the percentage that the bank will add on to your account every year, and that's the percentage of what you have in the bank. So we're going to go over a quick example, and hopefully you already have your example, so this you can add to your example. So let's say that you invest, you put $100 in the bank, all right, and they promise you, let's just say 15% interest per year. Okay, interest per year. So at the end of the year, they'll give you interest. So what will happen at the end of the first year? Well, at the end of the first year, what's going to be in your account? Well, you're going to have the $100, that's what's in there, and they're going to add 15%. And you're going to add 15% of that. So how would you get 15% of 100? Well, you'll take 100 and you will multiply it by 0.15. And so now you'll have 100 plus 15% of 100, which will be $115. All right, I want you to pause the video now, and I want you to go ahead and write in what will happen at the end of the second year. All right, hopefully that went well. Now consider at the beginning of the second year, you now have $115 in the bank, and they're going to add on 15% of that. So what you're going to have is now you're going to add on to that. You have 115, and they're going to take 15% of that. So here you have 115, and then you're going to take 15% and add it on. So you might want to go use a calculator for that. And that will be 1725. So you have 15 plus 17, that's 32. So it'll be 132.25. Okay. Now notice that this first time you added $15. And then the second year, your 15% was worth $17.25, right? So this should make sense. Pause the video and make sure you understand why it makes sense. Explain it to yourself. And the analogy I always use is if you have two pies, here's the first pie, and here's the second pie. If someone promises you a 10% share of that pie, which 10% share do you want? Do you want the 10% share from pi 1 or the 10% share from pi 2? You obviously want the 10% share from pi 2. So if this were a 10% slice, maybe that's a little too small, but you get the idea. The 10% slice from this pie is going to be much bigger because it's a bigger slice as a whole. So go ahead and pause the video now. I want you to go ahead and compute how much you'll have in the bank after year 3 and after year 7. Okay, try and do that on your own, and then go ahead and move on to the next page. Alright, so here are the questions. Obviously the first part is just to copy the college fund question into your notes. Questions 2 and 4 deal with interest. 4 is particularly important, especially this piece about explaining what your solution means and why it makes sense. So really spend some time on that. And then question 3 is more about what we've been working on with solving polynomial equations and trying to find solutions that way. So spend some time. This should take you 25, 30 minutes, maybe a little more, maybe 35 minutes, but it'll be very worthwhile so that on Monday and Tuesday or Monday you can really get into and make some progress on the college fund. All right, have a great weekend.